This is American Dumpster Fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to American Dumpster Fire. This is Loki.
And this is Tier.
And so many people would blame COVID-19 for the apocalypse, but the truth is we're discovering its stupidity, right?
Yeah, it definitely plays a part.
So COVID-19 might be the weapon, but stupidity is wielding
the
it.
catalyst.
Yeah. So the fact is that Florida just opened the beaches, right? And we're now going to be expecting a recurrence. So expect cases in Florida to spike because just hours after the beaches were opened, people flooded to them, and it's going to spread.
Yeah. There's pictures of really crowded beaches, and I think that the hashtag Florida morons is being used.
Yeah.
Quite
Well, I
now.
mean, it's Florida. Look, they're always in the news for something. Some stupid person did something stupid.
Florida man.
Yeah. They are all Florida man. In fact, we should make T-shirts that says "I am Florida man."
And sell them in the shops. down
Yeah,
there.
sell them. So now in Ohio, we probably had one of the better responses to the virus, this pandemic or what have you, and therefore our numbers are a little bit lower. And then people are like, "Oh, well, see, we overreacted." No, we did not.
There are people who are so freaking upset that DeWine shut everything down, and the fact that Ohio has lower, or at least had, I didn't look at the numbers in comparison recently, but over the past couple of weeks, Ohio had significantly less cases than a lot of states of comparable population, I think Pennsylvania, Michigan, Colorado.
Right.
Actually, I think Pennsylvania's population might be lower. But basically, in comparing us to these other states, we were significantly lower. And people in Ohio were dumb enough to be saying, "Oh, see, that he overreacted. We don't have nearly as many cases. It wasn't that big of a deal, blah, blah, blah." And, somehow they're completely missing the fact that we have less cases because of the way he reacted.
Right. And let's explain this in terms people might understand. So to reopen now would be akin to saying that, okay, we opened our parachute, we slowed our descent, now we can tear off our parachute.
Right, while you're still in the air
While
falling.
you're still in the air falling. So instead of waiting till you land.
Right. The numbers are still going up. We're still not testing.
Right.
The vast majority of people.
They're like, we flattened the curve. Well, we still haven't peaked, you see. We're still getting bigger numbers every day. So
Wait, who's saying we flattened a curve if we're still getting more
idiots are saying we flattened the curve. Trump is saying we flattened. There's morons who are like, I'm falsely imprisoned here. Grow the fuck up.
Oh, I know. And that's the thing is there was 10 or 12 people who were protesting against DeWine.
And they
who
were all
like-
homeschooled, I bet.
They were talking about how he's infringing on their rights.
I know.
You going out and killing people with your disease spreading is infringing on their right to live.
And then they're like, oh, well, I have a right to work. Okay, get an essential job then. That's all I can say. Go get a job that's considered essential. You'll be working. And then you'll be exposed to people, and you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't have done this.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not unsympathetic to the struggles that people are going through at all. I understand. Life's a struggle for everybody right now, some more than others. And yeah, everybody's been affected by this. And yeah, the vast majority of it really sucks. But the bottom line is that reopening everything right now is just going to cause a resurgence, and we're going to have to start all over.
We're going to have mass deaths.
Shut the fuck up. Stay home. Do your part. Wait until this starts to come down, and then we talk about reopening when we won't have to start all over.
Oh, and then I saw one. It's like, oh, well, people survived the Black Plague and didn't have a vaccine. It's like you realize it killed more than a third of Europe.
Yeah, that's the thing. People didn't survive the Black Plague. The vast majority of them. And that's the thing is that there actually was something that that helped certain people survive, but I don't think that they knew what it was at the time. There were certain herbs and vinegar that they used to use to soak their they would put handkerchiefs over their face, and they used it to combat the smell of the bodies and stuff. Because there was that many bodies all over the place. But the thing is that whatever they were soaking in the on their handkerchiefs and stuff was actually herbs that repelled fleas, which were carrying the disease.
Oh.
So it did protect them to some extent, but like
Well, and let's not
not in the
forget
same way.
that in those days we were more spread out. Yes, there were some big cities, but they were further apart. We couldn't get to them rather quickly or anything like that.
Right.
So a lot of the people who survived were not concentrated in the big cities,
Right. They
Or
were probably on a
probably
huge chunk
practiced
of farmland.
social isolation before we had a term for it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's like, screw that. I'm not getting sick.
Right.
So, people, just stay in. Just do the right thing. Like, do push-ups in your living room, something. I don't know. Find a way to entertain yourselves while staying away from other people so that we can get past this without killing off half the population.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is I'm surprisingly happy with the way DeWine has handled this. And I think that he's starting to talk about reopening maybe next month.
I think that the governors are feeling pressured by the idiot in chief, and they shouldn't, because he's a moron.
I think that the governors are looking at their pockets and the economy and how much money everybody is losing
Well,
by trying to keep people alive.
that's the balance. Do we let people die, or do we let people go broke?
Well, Trump's looking for money, so he's okay with people dying.
But yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to die or do you want to go broke? It's really which do we choose? Neither one's good. Your government should have been taking better care of you through this.
And that's the
Other
bottom line
countries
is we
did.
completely fumbled this, and I really feel like
$1,200 is chump change.
like we'd probably be getting past it, getting over it, had we taken it more seriously from the beginning.
Yeah.
Had we not disassembled our pandemic response team, had we jumped on the tests, when the World
Had
Health
we not
Organization
had Trump for a president.
essentially, had we jumped on the tests when the World Health Organization offered them, had we, taken this seriously sooner and made sure that we had the equipment and had the tests and had everything prepared for the inevitable moment when this hit the U.S.
Oh, well, and that's the other thing. Now we're defunding the World Health Organization. Luckily, we were not the primary funders of the World Health Organization.
Such a piece of shit.
We weren't even number 2 or 3, I believe. I believe that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation put more money into the World Health Organization than North America did,
Really?
than the United States did. So, fuck yourself. I mean, seriously, who cares? Oh, we're going to defund the World Health Organization. Why? Because of your shortcomings? All of the problems we had were Trump, not the World Health Organization. Wow, I'm really tripping him up today. So he likes blaming everybody else for his shortcomings, and it really the World Health Organization reacted the best they could. I don't see where they did anything wrong.
I think the funniest things that I've seen are how many times he's tried to blame Obama for all this.
Yeah, the man who put in place the pandemic response team, he dismantled.
He's blamed China repeatedly. He's blamed, which I mean, yes.
And then he
covered
said,
it
"I
up.
take no responsibility for this." Now, mind you, I forget what epidemic we had under Obama or what have you, but he said that only the president holds responsibility for when a pandemic happens under them, and then a pandemic
Everything
happens
has
under him,
completely
and it's
changed.
completely not my responsibility. It's everybody else's fault but my own. Worst president ever.
Oh my God, yes, no, I see that all the time. People bring back his tweets while Obama was in
None
office,
of them aged well, yeah.
and they all apply to his candidacy, and it was all bullshit while Obama was
Well,
in office.
and his moron followers just eat it up.
So yeah, there's a lot going on, but my biggest concern is that we aren't even testing enough people to think about reopening.
Oh yeah. Well, and then
Like-
he's blaming the governors for not testing enough people, and it's like, with what tests?
I think the most appalling thing that came out of all of this, though, was the fact that Trump was playing favorites with who got supplies and funding.
Yeah.
Like, there was no rhyme or reason to who he sent things out to. They depleted the stockpiles and everything. And, like, we're sending huge amounts of things to, like, okay, now, I think that we can all agree New York was the hardest hit.
Yeah.
They've had the most deaths, they've had the most cases, they've had really kind of devastating results. And they're the ones who needed the most aid.
Right.
They're also blue. They're also not a big fan of Trump. And I think that it's no coincidence that Nebraska got significantly more aid than New York did.
Well, I don't think the president should have any say over who gets help and who doesn't. I don't think it should be like that. None of this should work the way it has. The president should not be so hands-on to pick and choose who gets what.
But that's exactly what he
But
did.
it shouldn't be. In fact, this whole presidency has been unprecedented. It's ridiculous to think that he can pick and choose what happens when and where. This is ridiculous. And then he goes and claims to have absolute power with no responsibility.
Yeah, he was saying that he can force the states to reopen, that it's not the state's choice. Mind you, this is the party that's all about smaller government
Right.
and letting the states make their own decisions.
And he's trying to be a dictator. And then did you hear about how he was praising Xi Jinping? I can't say his name right. I apologize. I've been trying. But the president of China for extending his tenure. And he goes, I think maybe we'll try that here in America.
What?
Yeah, no. Throw his ass out of office. Like, physically. Like, did you ever watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? When
Yes.
Jazzy Jeff was tossed out? Like, that's what you need to do. Is somebody, like one of the Secret Service agents, needs to pick him up by his collar and his belt loop and just throw him the fuck out of office.
And then change the lock.
Then his luggage on top of him, then change the locks. Oh, and his stupid fucking useless kids. Like, throw them all out. Get them all out. And deport his fucking wife because she lied on her application. So...
Honestly, I think that if anyone's going to off Trump, she's the most likely candidate.
I don't
She
know.
hates
They got to
him.
deport her ass and her parents because they all lied on their fucking applications. Time to go.
I'm pretty sure Donald Trump's ancestors were illegal. But anyway, not that that's the point.
I'm pretty sure too.
No, I just this whole thing, everything about our response to this emergency has been a clusterfuck, and that's
Well,
putting it nicely. And the bottom line is that I have never seen more appalling actions out of a single person than I have from Trump.
Here's the-
Expecting states to kiss his ass in exchange for life-saving supplies. Like, yes, they're in charge of a state. Guess what, Trump? You're in charge of an entire country. Every one of these Americans, no matter what color state they're from, are your people to protect, and you fucked up.
Had the Republicans not needed the time to figure out how they could both profit off of this and keep from losing money off of it at the same time, then we could have jumped right to action. But instead what they did was they waited to see how much insider trading they could do
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of that.
and then figure out, okay, what can we do to make money off this? Can we own the ventilators? Can we own the masks? What have you? To go and turn around and make money off of this. I mean, in the beginning, that's why Trump refused the testing kits from the WHO, is he wanted to make money off of the testing kits.
I think that he's been trying to find ways to make money off of this or to profit off of this. And I've heard...
It should have instantly cost him his job. He should have been thrown the fuck out of office
yes,
the minute
it
he
should
did
be
it.
blatantly illegal because it's horrifyingly immoral.
Yeah.
But I think that... oh, crap. What was I going to say? Oh, I've heard multiple times now about him trying to buy a cure that he expects to exclude from the rest of the world
Right.
and only allow for U.S. citizens.
And not even that, U.S. citizens who can pay.
Okay, so you're probably right. So this would be a cure available to the rich in the U.S.,
Right. And nobody
which
else.
would still leave all of the poor and lower middle class to die, which is the vast, vast, vast majority of us.
Right.
And then at the same time, it'll have to cut off travel between countries permanently because nobody's going to, like, worldwide, if this is still an issue, you're not going to let them in your country, or you're just going to...
Well, there's an illusion that the wealthy even see borders. Okay, borders are only a thing for poor people.
That's true.
The wealthy go where they want. They don't need passports.
So I guess it's not even a factor as far as travel goes, because my thought was that that's fine, but as soon as you go to another country, if it's still infected, it's still infected.
Right.
But the bottom line is, as long as the wealthy still have a vaccination available to them or a cure available to them, they can travel wherever they want without restrictions
Right.
still.
Yeah.
So it won't matter.
So in the end,
It'll
it's,
just be
it's
the
really
lower-
about curing the wealthy and screwing the rest of us.
Right.
So
That makes sense.
so don't ever think that a Republican has anybody's interest but their own in mind. So and speaking to that, we discussed that that Donald Trump's sons' wives are getting paid money out of the election fund. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
So this article says one of, but I heard on another article that both of Donald Trump's sons the wife of Donald Trump's son, oh, that's what it is, and the girlfriend of the other are each receiving $180,000 a year from the presidential reelection campaign. The money isn't just being handed out in the open, though. They are each getting paid through the company run by Trump's campaign manager in order to avoid public disclosure. So they're being shady about it. I'm sure in some way it's probably fraud, because that's all Trump's whole enterprise is, right? It's con artistry and fraud.
Right.
So it's all about screwing you and screwing me and funneling money into the hands of people who don't deserve it, who shouldn't have it.
So
Because-
basically, he's once again okay. So we know that they already lost a lawsuit because they were funneling charity money into
Yes.
Trump's campaign, and so from there, they're taking campaign money and funneling it directly into his kids' pockets.
Right.
Nice, real nice.
So, yeah, all of this has been one big scam. And there is still an enormous group of people who believe in this scam artist.
Do you know what they think though? Because I actually talked to a Trump supporter who I mentioned this to because they're telling me about what great people his kids are. And I brought up the charity case and they're like, that's not what happened. What happened was they took charity funds and moved them from one charity to another.
That's not what happened.
No, that's not what happened. I sent an article and got no response. But the bottom line
Because Trump supporters can never be wrong. No matter what it is everybody else, everything else is wrong, except for the word right from the criminal's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's the thing is they aren't going to accept the truth because they don't want to know the truth. And I've seen enough interviewers with his supporters to know that the second somebody brings up reality or facts, they immediately jump to, I don't care.
oh,
You
yeah,
know?
because they don't care.
They don't
They're
care.
just willing to feed everybody else a line of bullshit.
Right.
And then, once it comes out that they're completely wrong, they don't care. It's just the fact that Trump hates the same people they hate.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's exactly it. And then the thing is that, like, truly going around Twitter and, like, looking at these articles and these supporters and, like, the people who literally every single time Trump tweets anything, it's the same Twitter accounts that are responding with what a great president he is and blah, 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 like, no matter how
And
appalling
I'll
his tweet
guarantee
is.
you almost all of them are fake or people he is actually friends with.
I'm fairly confident one or two of them are him himself. Like, he's commenting
Maybe,
on
yeah.
his own.
He made up a... Did you hear about that way back when he first came to fame or whatever? He had actually made up a person, made phone calls on his own behalf and stuff, and said, oh, yeah, Mr. Trump is...
Yeah,
this
yeah,
and
I
that.
think you mentioned that before. But, like, that's exactly what I think is happening is that he is tweeting and then immediately commenting on his own tweets
Yeah.
with,
Yeah, he's a con artist. That's what con
blowing
artists
smoke
do.
up people's asses. But that's the thing is that, like, I don't even understand how, I can't get a good idea of how, like, concerning his following is because I really feel like half of what I'm seeing on Twitter is all fake accounts.
Right.
So...
But it's
how
still,
bad is this? I know there are still Trump
I think
supporters
it's
because I
about
know a few.
25% of the population. But the reason this is problematic is 25% doesn't seem like an enormous number, but it is. It's an enormous number. And the reason that
When
is
they're the ones that
because
vote.
that's it. They religiously vote. They get out there and they give money. They get to the polls. They vote.
They're fanatical.
And the truth is that 25% of liberals don't vote. Like...
You're not wrong. I think it's more than 25% don't vote. I think that it's like half don't vote.
So
I think that there is a crazy number of the younger generations, like 18.
Oh, yeah, less than 13% of the
yeah.
newest voters.
And that's the problem
voted.
because on one hand it looks like we're making progress, like all these young people are progressives and
but then
and
they
we're
don't
heading
vote,
in
so
the right
what does
direction.
it matter?
Yeah, they don't vote.
So just
Like,
because you're
so
progressive
truly-
doesn't mean shit because you're not doing anything.
Yeah, you're not doing anything to fix this problem. Like, truly, if you're not voting, you don't get to complain about
and
Trump. You're the
literally-
reason he's there.
You've got to go and, like, cast a vote once every 2 years. Like, how lazy can you be that you can't get to the poll once every 2 years?
Right. Or, in the case of a president, 4 years?
Yeah, if that's all you're going to vote for,
Yeah, even if that's all you vote for.
Like, that is absolute laziness.
that's bare minimum, dude. Like, you can go make it to the poll once every 4 years or get
Right.
a mail-in ballot.
I've been discouraged from... No, get over it. We all have.
We're all discouraged. You still have to do something. Something. Bitching from your Twitter account ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah. Oh, I support so and so. No, you don't. You don't support shit unless you voted for him.
I agree completely. You don't get to call yourself a supporter unless you vote.
So sorry, guys, if that was a crushing thing to say to you. Maybe go cry about it and then vote. So, anything else?
No, I think I've done bitching.
All right, we'll talk to you guys.